Chug to start. Chug, 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 chug.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Reel Down on Paddle and Fin. We'll give it a minute here for everybody to log in as usual. Thank you for watching, listening, everything that you do. And we have some great guests on tonight. How you doing, Jimmy?
Doing good, man. Had a long weekend. What about you?
It was good. I did yard work today. I hate yard work. Like I said, whenever I was a kid, because we had like an acre, couple acres, something like that. And like I told my parents, I wanted nothing but concrete whenever I grew up, so I'd never have to mow anything. And I don't have a real big yard, but it's like fancy with a bunch of plants, and like you really have to edge and weed eat, so it's like real tedious. It's not like one square, easy square or something. So it sucks, but it is what it is.
I have no excuses, and I just don't do mine. I used to be really good, but now lately I just don't care. So.
We live in a neighborhood, like if you don't, then they will definitely put a letter in your mailbox.
We could never live in an HOA neighborhood because we would get kicked out because I don't care.
Yeah. Well, they can have somebody do it. If they give you a letter and then like a second one and you don't do something, they're going to pay somebody to do it, and then you're going to have to pay.
It's almost worth it.
Yeah.
Like the next kid that comes by and asks, yes, I will pay you. Take care of it.
I had some little girl like paint my mailbox. They did a thing on our group page on Facebook.
Oh, I thought you meant like vandalism, like just
no. Like, oh, well, because it needed to be painted. It had been a few years, I guess, before we lived here. And they were like, oh, we're painting mailboxes. We do it every year during summer. And look out there. It's like some 10-year-old girl. I felt bad, like child labor or something. Like you are too young to be painting my mailbox, but it was cool. All right, so here we go. Without further ado, tonight we're talking Hobie BOS. Had the big event in Lacrosse, Wisconsin. It was Wisconsin. So I'm at Spotted Cow. So I think it was like maybe the fourth stop of the year. Not sure because they canceled Erie. So, but yeah, here we go. Without further ado, we have Alex Steffen, Zack Humphries, and Russ Snyders. Well, really, we have a popcorn ceiling, but we will have Russ Snyders. The ceiling formerly known as Snyders.
Very nice. Like the texture. Doing great. How y'all doing, guys?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. You?
Good. Well, thank y'all for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for asking me to be on it, man.
So we had so Russ got first, Alex got second, and Zack, you got third. But we're really fortunate to have all three on talk about it. So first we'll start off. Alex, we'll start with you. Kind of go in rotation here. Tell us who you are. A little bit about your personal life and how you got into kayak fishing.
I'm Alex Steffen. I pretty much hunt and fish as much as I can. Probably more than my wife wants me to, honestly. But I got into kayak fishing mainly through a really good friend of mine, TJ.
Nope, we lost you there.
He had signed up for the IKA there, and basically our Iowa Kayak Anglers group. And he told me I was actually fishing. I had a bass boat at that time, and he told me if I wanted to join in with him, he had an extra kayak, I can get into it. So I started fishing with him for a while, got into the kayak anglers, and started meeting all the different people. And we joined the MKFS when that was still around. Kind of missed that a lot, actually. But joined in on that and had a really big tournament up on Mille Lacs, and that's what kind of really sealed the deal for me to start fishing kayaks. And actually a week after that, I won that tournament up there, and I bought my Hobie. So,
and that's actually where Russ is at right now. He's on Mille Lacs, right?
Yeah, we just got up here. Me, Christine, AJ, Guillermo, Matt Scotch, and Adam Reiser. Just
all the cool kids.
It should be a good time, good crowd to be hanging with.
Yeah, I know Catherine Fields. She was up there not too long ago. So
yeah, Christine was saying she got a big one. It's up shallow on a chatterbait actually, which isn't one thing to throw when you're going up to a lake like this for smallmouth. But
right,
yeah, you can do that shallow fishing too. I've never been here, so I'm excited to check it out.
See, that's all I did when I was up there. I
Really
wanted to fish the pencil reeds.
The pencil reeds?
Yeah, there's basically all around the bank. There's just reeds that grow. I call them pencil reeds. I don't know what they're actually called,
Huh.
but they're basically just thin reeds that grow. And they're green or gray, whatever you want to call them. I call them pencil reeds. I was trying to fish those left and right, running jigs through them.
Nice. I prefer to, if I power fish up shallow.
Right, that's my thing too.
It'd probably be good for me to get out there and start using my graph. I haven't had to do that in a while. Of all the tournaments I've been doing, it's all been shallow power fishing mainly. So it'd be good to get out there and hopefully catch my PV smallie. I've never got one over 6 pounds. So
Yeah, dude, you'll definitely have a chance there.
Well, that'll be a heck of a feat right there. So
yeah,
let us know.
All right, so Zach, tell us all about yourself, who you are, and how you got into kayak fishing, man.
I'm Zack Humphries. I'm right here in central Wisconsin. Close to Mississippi, but I've never fished it. But right here in central Wisconsin, we got rivers and flowages around here like crazy. So, I'm used to fishing that kind of water and getting into kayak fishing. I don't really remember quite how I got into it. Just a couple buddies were doing it, and I've been doing it been fishing from a kayak for the past 4 years, I believe now. But just started really getting into the tournament scene this year. So I've done a couple of the little local ones and stuff like that just to get my feet wet. And this was my first big event for the Hobie BOS, and it was a great time, that's for sure.
Wow, first big event.
Well, you definitely started the national trail with a solid hit. So congrats on that.
Yeah, it was a fun place. So.
And Russ, you've been on the show not too long ago, but if somebody somehow didn't know who you are, tell us who you are, man.
Russ Snyders from Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been kayak fishing 3.5, 4 years now. And originally from California, lived out in Tennessee for about 8 years or so.
And what kind of boats are all of y'all in? You said Alex, you're in a Hobie.
You hear me all right?
Did I? Alex, what kind of boat are you in, man?
Yeah, I can't hear you, Daniel.
I can hear you.
Can you? Okay. How about you, Zach?
I'm in a Jackson Coosa FD, and I love it. I've been really my big purchase up to a pedal drive. I was in a little big Build and Stream Shadow caster.
You guys hear me? I kind of lost.
Yeah.
Paddling that thing around was tough.
I can't hear anything that's going on.
To get into a pedal drive, I was really 50-50 on the Jackson Coosa and Hobie, but for my style of fishing, I think the Jackson was definitely the best way to go for me, and I love that kayak, so definitely happy with it.
Cool. Can you hear us now, Alex? Well, here, leave the room and then come back. Well, you can't hear us, so I'm trying sign language here. All right, go and then come back. All right. We'll get him back here in a second. How about you, Russ? I know you had a Wildy and a native. Which one are you in now?
I still got both of them with me. For this last tournament, I used the Wildy. I had the native ready just in case if it was windy or if I was fishing around a lot of current. I had that one as an option. I'm on a big road trip now for a couple months. I'm going to be working my way out west for a few tournaments and probably on the way back hitting the Arkansas. What's that lake? Dardanelle. So I've got both kayaks along with me, and if I have to cover some ground or where I'm only in the Hobie events anyways, and I'll plan on using the native. Otherwise, using the Wildy Attack 120.
I'm letting Alex know he can just do the audio. So are you hitting the you said you're going out west. You're going to go all the way out to California, hit the Clear Lake event?
Yeah, I'm going to go out there on about a 2-month road trip. You obviously fished a tournament there in Wisconsin. Then I had a couple weeks to kill. I got a bunch of family that looks like they're going to be moving around Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, just outside of Spokane. My sister and my brother-in-law and my dad and stepmom are all kind of checking the place out, and they're going to be out there in a couple weeks. So I thought it'd be good opportunities since I was up kind of halfway there anyways. I'm going to meet them over there, and then after that, I'm going to be back in California for the month of August and fish as many tournaments as I can out there, and probably hit Dardanelle on my way back home to Tennessee.
I know.
There you go.
Coeur d'Alene up there, that's on my bucket list. Like, I've seen it with Polinick and some other times, just on different videos and shows and stuff like that. That is a beautiful place.
It looks amazing. I've never been out to that part of the country at all. My sister lives in outside of Seattle a little ways, and they're trying to get out of there. And so my parents live in the Bay Area, and they're also trying to get out. So Coeur d'Alene looks like a great place to be. Beautiful scenery and some really good fishing, some big smallmouth and some good largemouth out here too. So I've never been there. I'm gonna get there probably a couple days. While I see them, I won't be able to fish, so I'll be. So I got a couple weeks to kill, so I'm gonna do this trip here in Minnesota and relax. Probably spend some time doing a little fly fishing on Montana, and then probably fish Coeur d'Alene for a couple days maybe.
I think it was actually like a Strike King show with Shaw Grigsby fishing frogs, which, I mean, you wouldn't think that up in Idaho, but you never know. It might have just been the new frog that came out, so they were trying to pump it up.
A lot of grass, and
really?
It looks like it. Yeah, I've never been there. I've seen some pictures. Looks like it's a good solid largemouth lake too. A lot of grass and stuff there. So
cool. And Alex, we never got to ask you, man. What kind of boat are you in? Oh, the Hobie.
I'm in a Hobie PA14.
The 14.
Yeah.
The cool 360 or the regular one?
No, I've got one of the originals with just a regular drive, no 180.
Oh,
yeah.
So
I need to get a 180 drive, honestly.
So something I don't know about those, the non-180. Do you have to like pick it up and flip it to go backwards, or do you just not go backwards? Period.
I just don't go backwards. I go backwards with the paddle.
Oh, okay. I've always wondered that on older Hobie drives. I've never been in one of the older ones, so I have no idea. That's interesting.
I mean, that's just a testament to, like, you don't necessarily have to have the newest, coolest, best thing to compete in a tournament. I mean, some tournaments this year have been won with just a paddle, and some, like you were just saying, the old school OG Hobie drive. So, I mean, you don't have to have the Torpedo, or I know you can't have a motor and Hobie, but you don't have to have all the nicest stuff to go out and compete all the time at the highest level. So.
Well, let's get into the tournament itself. Everybody knows. Well, if you don't, the Hobie events are 2 days. So Russ was in first on day one with 87 3/4. Alex, you were back in 20th on day one with 80.5.
Yeah, big comeback.
Big comeback. Zach, you were in fifth with 85, so you had a strong day both days. Yeah. So before we get into the day two numbers, if one of y'all wants to start off and just talk about day one.
For me, day one was almost pure luck. It was crazy. I was going out. I got a pre-fish a little bit on Friday, and I went out there and I was able to get 5 fish. So that was my plan. I was going to go back to the spot and just sit there all day and try to get 5 fish. But Saturday morning we had a little bit of a rainstorm come in, and there was some lightning, so I kind of went up by a shore bank, and there happened to be a tree in the main channel in a sandy spot, and I was able to pluck almost 20 to 30 fish off that one tree. Wow. And that just changed my whole thing. So my whole setups on my rod, everything changed from that moment, and the rest of the tournament stuck like that. And I caught 20, 30 fish off that one tree, but that was only from like when the sun came up, say about 6:30 to 10:30. After that, it shut off. So I had to get that. And really, when I saw I was in third place, after 11 a.m., I wasn't able to get another fish to upgrade. So I was very surprised that third place position was able to hold, because it's just I could not get another fish.
I was the same with both days for me. 11 o'clock, after 11 o'clock, just shut off.
It just shut off, and I was on the main channel, so I had boats everywhere. I was in 3-foot wake. It was pretty crazy and almost unfishable. So I had to get those fish real quick and try to upgrade as best as I can and hope for the best. Turned out good though. I'm happy with
For
it.
me, it was the complete opposite for them. I mean, my 3 biggest fish came between 12:20 and 12:45, and they were all
Wow.
on a King Daddy Pro.
Okay. So it seems like in
Nice.
this tournament, with the weights being so close together, it's a good fishery with a lot of fish. Like what was it specifically going after those bigger fish, or what after practice? What was your idea of what you were going to do day one to kind of to do well? What was your
I
game
mean,
plan going in?
for me, I had a completely different game plan than what I finished with. I found a spot. I found an underwater tree and low moving current, and I was going to sit there for, I don't know, 4 hours and pull fish off it left and right. I mean, I pulled 3 fish off it during practice on Thursday. I mean, bang, 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 and then I was sitting there and I had a couple more bites after I bent my hook and just left. And I came back on Saturday morning and I started in a back little cut, started fishing some trees, and nothing, caught a dogfish. So I worked my way back out to the underwater tree and I sat there and not a single hit. And I mean, I had and talk about kind of a nerve-wracking thing. I had Jay Wallen at the ramp with me, and I was like, if he found my spot, I'm screwed. So, but it was it was a little bit nerve-wracking, and he kind of went over top of my spot, and I dropped my power pole at it and sat there for 20, 30 minutes and didn't get a hit at all. And I was like, well, I'm heading where my other spot was at. And that day, I didn't find my actual school of fish that I'd found in that spot on Friday until 1 o'clock. So I only had an hour to upgrade my limit, and I went from, I think I had 3 fish when I found my spot. I called, I think 15 times in that hour. So on day 1, and then I came back to that spot on day 2 at about, I'd say 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30, and upgraded my limit to a limit of 16s and went around the little patch that I was fishing and caught the 3 big ones with a 17.5 on the end of it and couldn't get another bite.
I know it's got to feel good anytime Jody Queen tells you congratulations. He had a good tournament too. Just wasn't top 3, but I mean he's the man. Just like he's in the conversation for some of the best anglers in the country. So yeah, that's got to feel good to do better than somebody who's so
definitely
good. Yeah. So Russ, how about you, man? Tell us about your day 1 and 2.
Yeah, get up there like Wednesday afternoon, evening. I had a few hours to pre-fish, and be honest, I went back to an area that I did well in the KBF Trail Series Championship in October. Even though it was completely different conditions, opposite conditions. Really, that tournament was post frontal after a big cold front, big rain, everything was flooded, and but I figured I'd still go back there and just kind of check it. And I know big fish kind of live in that area, and it's an area that they don't really have to leave. So yeah, my first fish when I got there actually was a 21 incher, which for that place was a monster. And I just decided to committed at that point. I knew the big fish were there, so I just continued to fish the area and just tried to figure them out with depending on what the weather's doing, how they were positioning, where they were moving, and just spent those 2 days pre-fishing, kind of dialing it in. And those days it did really good too. And we had different weather though pre-fishing. We had a lot of overcast. We had Thursday I think it was storming most of the day, and they seemed to be really active. And Friday was post frontal, but there was a lot of wind blowing. And they were actually on Friday I got so many fish. So what it is, it's an area basically with a bunch of weed flats, and there's some ditches and deeper water throughout the flats that create these hard edges more or less on these weed flats. And at times they'd be positioned on the outside edges of the grass, and that was actually the easiest way to catch them when they were there, because it was you just follow the outside edge and just keep moving and you'll run into them. But certain times of the day, during the tournament in the morning, I get them on those outside edges, and around 8 o'clock or so, that bite would start dying, and they'd start moving up onto the flats. And the flats just had had eelgrass, milfoil, hydrilla, and there was also a ton of duckweed that would move around in there like crazy. It would shift depending on the wind. But that duckweed would create canopies. And when it got hot, they'd sit underneath all those canopies there. But the problem is it's like finding a needle in a haystack. I mean, there's so much water to cover, and to try to get a bite. And they'd be concentrated in areas, but they also move, So I had one area that they were consistently there every day on top of that weed flat. But anyway, around 8 or 9 o'clock, I'd go punching those mats with like a 1.5 ounce weight. And it would last, for like an hour or two. And then around 10, 11 o'clock, like all of a sudden I figured they were still there. I don't know where they moved to or what they went, but I could not get them to bite. I don't know if I should have made some adjustments as far as lure selection. And I don't know, like pre-fishing, it was that day it was windy on Friday. They were up on those flats, but there were, I found a pattern where they were on isolated patches of the duckweed, where it's maybe, 20 by 20 around that size. There's areas where it's like hundreds of yards of just all duckweed. But the isolated patches on a little bit of the deeper stuff, I can go to the windblown side of every isolated patch. And I was punching big ones, but during the tournament, the wind wasn't blowing, and when it got calm and slick in the afternoon, I could not figure them out. But luckily, each day, I got enough that morning and mid-morning bite to get enough to secure the win there.
And you were flipping during a Trail Series championship too, right?
Yeah, I was flipping there, mostly just working the outside edges and working wood, and they weren't on the wood at all in that area. I didn't get one bite on a piece of wood. Any of the 4.5 days I was out there. So it was a little bit different. I could fish a little faster stuff. And they weren't up on the flats at all in the Trail Series Championship. They were on the edges, and in this one they move around a lot more. But luckily I had enough time, like I said, pre-fishing to kind of figure a few things out. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's kind of you hear a lot of people say don't fish history, but I guess sometimes it works. You just have to adjust it a little bit.
It's rare. I was really shocked. I had no expectations, and especially being summertime and the area, like I said, doesn't have any current really at all. I was I was shocked to see it, play out the same way. I was focusing, I was really thinking it'd be something main river on the current, summertime, typical river deal. So it was a little shocking, but it like I said, they got everything they need there, so they live in that area, and they probably don't really have to move much.
It's always nice when you find one of those like habitats.
Yeah, there's a huge bluegill population there, both when I was there last year and this year. Just tons and tons and tons of bluegill, and the average size bass. I didn't catch a lot of bass each day. I hear some of these guys catching 30, 40, 50 fish. I probably caught 10 to 12 fish a day. They're just better, all largemouth. They're better than average size. And I caught a ton of pike, though. Oh my God. I caught probably twice as many pike as I did bass. And I went through well over $100 worth of tungsten weights. And that's just the weight in it. I had the punch skirts and the hooks. I went through a lot of tackle.
Wow.
Damn pike, man.
It was an expensive trip.
How about you, man? What were you throwing?
I was actually throwing a King Daddy Spro on a swim bait rod. Basically, what I had found since it was so hot, and the water before I got up there, the water was I think 85 to 87 degrees in some spots, and to me, I knew that I had to find cold springs because in the river there's some spots you can find some really good cold springs.
Yeah.
And the one where I went and where I actually fished on all day Sunday and half the day on Saturday, I found 3 separate cold springs, and one of them I had a good cluster of fish on it on Saturday, but they weren't anything that was going to help me at all. But then the last spot that I found was where I ended up fishing all day on Sunday. It was probably the size of, I don't know, maybe a 20 by 30 foot scum patch. And it wasn't really anything that would make someone think that they're going to be sitting under there. But what made me realize they were sitting there was I was watching just boils underneath the scum, and then all of a sudden I'd see one surface. And I just went over there with the frog and fished the heck out of it. I used a black leopard Spro frog, just a normal small one, and then I used a white and blue King Daddy one.
And you're throwing that on braid, huh?
Oh yeah, I throw it on 65-pound braid.
Yeah. And if anybody
There's
watches,
no other styles of braid in my book.
yeah. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Well, if you can get any knowledge out of these guys, or even if you were fishing the event and that's why you're watching it. I know if I'm in an event and somebody goes on a podcast, I know I'm listening to it because I want to find out what happened. And especially with the bass event, that's a question. Are all three of you going to fish the bass event coming up there?
I'm planning to. I'm hoping to. The one coming up in August.
Yeah,
that's the one I'm planning on fishing. That one I'm trying to.
Zach's ready.
You kind of got to now, man. Second place.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, third.
Third.
You got to. Yeah, you got to take the win now.
Yeah, I got to try. Got to keep going.
That's right.
Well.
And Alex,
you just got to hope Russ doesn't go up.
What'd you say?
And you're not too far from there in Iowa. Or you can go back.
Yeah, I'll be back up there. I actually have, with that BASS tournament, if I fish that one, I have 3 tournaments technically coming up. We have a all frog tournament coming up next weekend. Not the one that's coming, but the weekend after that. But and then 2 weeks after that, or maybe a week after that, we have the 10K Invitational for Cabela's. And then I think the week after that is the BASS.
10K, and how's that 10K Invitational work?
So basically, it's considered an open, but they call it the Invitational. It's bass boat only.
Bass boat tournament. Okay.
Yeah. If you get first place, you get 10 grand.
Win that money.
I still got my boat.
Man, Russ is like 10 grand. What? 10 grand? Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't
Yeah,
sold
you can
that
show
bass boat yet.
I haven't sold it yet. I'll be out, and I'll be doing the Hobie event out in California. I think they're scheduled the same weekend, so I'll be out in California that weekend.
Yeah, your money's safe, Alex.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, we're hoping to get up there, and hopefully they'll still be there. I have a funny feeling they'll still be there if it stays as warm as it is, and those cold springs stay the way they need to be. But
yeah.
I know
the
water was quite a bit lower than I know you guys are from the area, fish out there, but the water, was that pretty low compared to what's normal?
Well, me,
honestly,
I've never fished in Mississippi. That was my first time ever fishing it, so I really don't know the water levels there. But from right here in central Wisconsin, they've been pretty normal. But for me, I really don't know. That was my first time, and I'm not sure.
See, and for me, I've always lived by the saying when the water's low, they lockjaw on the river, and I mean, for this weekend, it was pretty impressive for all of us that were catching, hundreds of fish, and for your limits and my limit, and it was nuts. But yeah, I'd say the water was a little bit low, and there were some spots that I am used to fishing that I can get way back in there, but I couldn't even get to them. Really? Mm-hmm.
Is it just tougher because of like the low flows, like less current and stuff like that? You think?
Well, see, I'm a big. I like fishing dead water. I really do. I'm not a big current guy, and I never really spent much time fishing in the current. I like targeting big largemouth that are sitting back tight in the weeds. And for me, it was usually what happens on the Mississippi River is they'll go to the backs of the cuts when the water's high. And when the water's low, they'll usually come out to the opening of the cuts. And this time they're sitting in random spots, and you'd find a big cluster of them wherever you can try to find them.
Yeah, it's like the area I was at. Sounds really similar. I say it was out of the current, and there was a lot of fish there, and I was surprised really for the conditions. I was really surprised that they were there in those type of conditions.
Yeah.
Now, when you were fishing, could you see the main river?
I was off the main river, in an area that it'll get current. Last year when I was there in October, there was just a little bit of current, but the river, it was way up. It was like flood level conditions. So there was a little bit of current then, but this year there was none except for the little bit of wind current. If the wind.
See, where I was sitting, I could look basically to my right and see the main river. I could see the Wisconsin side buoys or, and stuff like that. But
gotcha.
Yeah, it was nice and steady in some spots, but I'm glad that current wasn't ripping this year.
See, I fish rivers a lot, and I've always noticed, for me, the bite always seems to be a little bit better when the water is slightly rising. And but I mean, my whole game plan of fishing the rivers like I have, I look for eddies, I look for rocks, I look for weed lines. Fishing the Mississippi, where I found these fish was so unexpected. It was just a random tree. It was like Jody Quinn said, a magic tree. And I was just, everything changed and in there. And it was just a sand flat off the main channel. I was fishing on the main channel, just a big flat off of it. And there was just one tree. And it just held a crazy amount of fish. It was fish, but almost every cast. But it shut off. After it shut off, it shut off. There was no more. Do
you think they were still in the tree and wouldn't bite, or do you think that they left and went somewhere relocated?
I don't know. I moved too. I tried to go into deeper waters, and even into the weeds, the shallows, I couldn't find them again. I don't know if they just stopped biting or what happened, but I noticed with the tree too. I started on the shallower part of the tree. The fish were smaller. They seemed to get bigger and bigger the further into the deeper water.
Yeah.
Where I was fishing that tree, the deeper the water I went, the bigger the fish. But there was a bunch of 16s and 15s, and after 11 o'clock, I could not upgrade that 15-inch fish, which would have helped a lot. But I just couldn't get that last upgrade, and it was just. But it's completely different river fishing than what I'm used to right here on the Wisconsin River, which I fish a lot. But
how big was this tree?
It was pretty big.
Sounds like
a big tree. Yeah, it came off. I don't know. It was huge. It was a big tree.
I got used to magic trees.
Yeah.
What was your go-to tactic?
I was at first throwing the wacky rig in there, and then I went with the Texas. I was able to get the Texas rig a little bit deeper into the stumps and cover and find some bigger ones out there, and they hit. They just came up and smashed it. So it was a good time, for sure. It's great fishery.
That's awesome. I need to find me a magic tree down here somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever found a magic tree like that.
That was the first time.
I'll find a tree that'll hold a couple of fish. I've never found one that holds 30.
I've never found a
crappie fishing, maybe
$2,000 tree. Is that what it was?
1,500.
1,500. Wow.
Well, that tree got a saved waypoint right there, like money symbol in it.
I'll probably be trying to go back to same tactic if I'm able to make it to the bass tournament.
With the wacky rig and the Texas rig, is there a certain bait you like more than anything, especially on that Texas rig?
I think the Texas. I think the Texas was just a little more versatile, able to get down a little bit deeper. I mean, I was fishing in 4 to 6 feet of water, but the current was like halfway on the tree. Some of the tree had some faster current, and some of it was slower. And the wacky rig just wasn't getting as deep as I would like, so I just put on the Texas rig just to get down there.
Was that a beaver or creature bait or like a worm?
Just a big worm. Big worm.
Yeah, like ribbon tail, something like that.
Yeah, just a big worm. I think it was a 6-inch, 10-inch.
There you go. Yeah. Worm, punching, and Mega Daddy Frog.
Actually, on that second day, I actually made a little bit. I was kind of scrambling to try to figure them out. And the only bites that I did get were on a big 10-inch worm, fishing those outside grass on. They didn't help me any. There were just a couple little ones, but it seems in the heat of the summer when it's calm and still and big worm. What I wish I had, which one of the competitors said that they were using, was a speed worm with a little 1/8 ounce weight. I was thinking during the tournament too, I'm like, man, I wish I had some speed worms right now. Just kind of felt right for it. It was interesting to hear one of the anglers said he caught like 50 fish or something like that, swimming it through the grass.
The speed worm does not leave my side. It stays in the boat at all times, man. That's a good lure to keep.
I really don't throw one unless I'm in Florida. But I guess you were saying like duckweed, I guess it goes with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speed worm.
When there's so much water, I wanted to fish those outside edges, but I couldn't, I needed to fish, cover a little bit of water to find them too. That's the thing. It's something a finesse presentation where you can still, you're kind of swimming it and you can
swim it.
Yeah. And you still get the, when it's really calm and still, but yeah, you want to, you got to fish more finesse, but you got to move a little bit. It's kind of the perfect combo of the two of those, I think.
You can, a guy showed me throwing it weightless and buzzing it across the top was
Yeah.
another. It's like a long,
John
fast
Cox.
top wire. That was cool.
Yeah, John Cox does that a lot. My buddy was just telling me about that. We saw a video with him doing that.
In college fishing, we used to take a quarter-ounce swim jig and take a horny toad trailer, just a normal buzzing toad, and put it on the back of it during like a good feeding frenzy and throw it on top of like a big, thick pad and run it across the top. And when you get to the edge, you just let it fall. As soon as it falls, you get smoked.
That's that's a big one down here on Akusa. A lot of people don't know about that. It's funny that some would work up, that's a thing up there as well as down here,
I've heard of doing it with like a light, like belly weighted hook or like a light, like Texas rig, but you could do it like on a swim jig too, like that, huh?
Yeah, just a quarter-ounce jig, and you get a really thick mat where nothing will fall through, and you just kind of throw it out really quick, like a sidearm cast, almost like you're trying to skip it. So it lands on top, and then just pull it back across as fast as you can. As soon as it's the edge, just let it fall.
You need a swim jig with a pretty good size hook then too. I'm guessing you can't have a.
No, you bite the head off that horny toad and just go through the center of the body and come out basically at the crotch of the frog.
Gotcha.
It's something Russ Snyders he had put it on his Facebook page probably like a year ago. He was like, like he was given some juice. And I started trying that after that. It works.
It's fun. It's pretty exhilarating when you get a big one to hit you.
You guys ever fish it's kind of similar to I use a super speed, the Zoom, not the ultra vibe speed craw, but the super speed craw. It's kind of like a
bigger one.
It's got a lot bigger, flat. I use that one a lot. It's kind of similar, I guess.
I've got some of those right now, and I can't talk myself into putting down the ultra vibe speed craw to give it a try.
Oh, that's a good
Because
thing. The ultra vibe,
the ultra vibe speed craw's been working, man.
The super speed craw is what I was fishing on a swim jig in Texas, Lake Fork, that Bassmaster. I was throwing a white one with that trailer. Moves a lot of water. For sure. A
lot of times for me, it's like I love to throw a swim jig, and that Rage Menace is so beautiful on the back of it. It's so hard to swap that out because it just gets so many bites.
That's
I've got a box full of menaces.
Yeah, that's
great. About it, that's for sure. I remember even a few years ago, still people knew about it, but now it's like cat's out of the bag on that bait. It's such a good bait. There's so many other things that are close to it too. Like it's very similar to like that Z craw or the other baits, but for some reason there's something about just that menace that just really, man, they really like that action on that thing.
Yeah, it's super versatile. You can throw it on a chatterbait, or you can flip with it. You can do a lot of different things. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was one of the baits I was flipping. I was mixing up between that. I was putting that more for when I was like punching with the 1 ounce, just a small compact. It would get through the mats really easy. Yeah. On the outside, I was using not kinky beaver, spicy beaver, with like a 1/2 ounce, and that really slowed it down. It's kind of like the Menace, but just like a slower kind of.
It's more like a wave.
Yeah.
I've got to get more versed in my punching baits. Because I only do it when I have a place up here that mats up in the winter, and it's spring fed, so the water's warmer, and that's like the only place I ever do any like heavy cover punching. So I don't really
beaver or D-bombs are good, but you can't go wrong with like either a beaver or the Menace are probably my two go-tos for that.
I always pitch like Havoc.
Yeah, something with like less appendages usually, so it doesn't
you don't want to use something like a brush hog or something like that. You don't want to mess with. You want something compact and that's going to slide.
Yeah, I can go with the beaver.
Yeah. And what were you saying, Alex?
I was saying I run a lot of the Havoc Pit Boss.
Oh yeah.
Just because you can literally send it anywhere and it'll float right in. Punching a lot of the times, like you said, a beaver, because there's not. It's sleek, it's slender, it'll go right through. But that Havoc Pit Boss is hard to beat sometimes.
And that's kind of another big thing while we're talking about tackle is have y'all seen anything from the virtual ICAST this year? That's kind of. I know all y'all have been busy. Russ, you've been on the road, and y'all been fishing all weekend. But today, I work on a computer, so I get to see, look sometimes, see some cool stuff come out. Now, have y'all seen anything that kind of caught your eye?
Honestly, no, I haven't even looked. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of time to mess around looking at stuff like that, I guess. But I haven't seen hardly anything that's coming out.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's
Seen
been a busy
one good
schedule.
one. Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, I say, I've been busy as well. I'm
Been
always,
busy,
they
yeah.
always come out with some cool stuff at the ICAST. It's,
Man,
gonna be a little different this year, but I'm sure still gonna be some great products being released.
they've been busy winning money. They don't have time for that,
They
man.
don't care. New stuff's going to come out. They're going to use what they've been using. They're still going to win money.
Here, I'll say
Pretty
a
much.
couple. I saw that first. That since we were talking about flipping baits, that the Big Bite BFE, that one looks pretty good. Like it's more
Big Bite BFE.
BFE. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it stands for, but it's kind of like a tube flip bait. But it's full bite. It's full. It's solid. But that's a great looking bait. The Z-Mans came out with a cross size, and I know that they had said they were coming out with the stealth chatterbait, but they came out with one called the cross size chatterbait. It's going to have a couple of weed guards, and it's going to be like a heavy cover chatterbait. Like I was
That'd be
more
cool.
excited about that than I was.
Picasso. I've never tried it, but I know Picasso has that one with the weed guard. But there's got to be. That's a good thing to. Get some more of those on the market. I think I've never tried that one, but it's chatterbait's a great bait, but you definitely have a hard time fishing it around wood. It would be nice to have something that would just roll right over those big laydowns and stuff. That's for sure.
I guess that'll be a one, but they came out
Yeah,
with
definitely. Because that's where I'm throwing it.
Yeah, but they came out with
just because
chatterbaits.
Cool.
Because we're talking about the virtual ICAST thing, the one thing I saw that stuck out is, and I can't remember the name of the company, they're making a new version of like a wacky rig band that you'll have to have their tool for, but it's
DMC.
It's got like pilot holes so you can change it from Nico rig to wacky and
really.
Yeah, it's so
it's
instead
of going through the bait, it's kind of like parallel with it. That's
it's got a hole on top where you wacky rig it, put the O-ring on, and then the hook goes the opposite direction through another hole. It looks cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's cool.
And then the other one I saw was the Strike King Hybrid Hunter. I know Castledown's been trying to come out with that for a while, but that's going to be like it's almost like a lipless. It's supposed to come through a grass really well, and you're supposed to be able to do it like fish it really shallow, like in 1 or 2 feet. You can run a crankbait, so it's supposed to be kind of cool. So we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah. So all right, guys, we don't want to keep y'all for too long. We'll give you a chance here. We'll start with you, Alex. Congratulations on everybody, how you did. Thank you for being on show. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank my wife first off for letting me go.
Amen.
And also my boss. I just started a new job 4 months ago, and she basically told me to just take it off and go. I was like, sweet. And I'd like to thank my mom and dad for sending me a bunch of text messages and telling me keep going, keep it up there, watching the leaderboard all day. And then my 2 best friends, Alan Hermson and TJ Duffy, they were texting me left and right saying keep it up, and they had a conversation with my wife for the last 2.5 hours watching the leaderboard. So they were having a good time.
Very cool. Zach, how about you, man?
I'd like to thank my mom. She really is involved in this. She was showing a lot of support during this last weekend. My girlfriend and my kids definitely, there's a lot of motivational support for all this. And I don't know, it's real good to be here. I can tell you that much. Feels good.
Yeah, I like that ceiling you got going in the background. You got fish on the wall. I like your ceiling. I like
my little man cave area down here.
I like what you got going on, man.
Yeah,
and Russ, but before I had a question. You and Jimmy, y'all were both affected because you were on the Hook One team. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. It's that's a company that's been around for a long time and that supported a lot of anglers and been so big in the industry. Did you have any feelings on that?
Oh yeah, I mean it was really sad to hear the news and quite a surprise, really. I mean the shop was doing really well. I had like a record-breaking year for sales, and The owners, though, with everything going down, and I know they were getting up there in age and stuff like that. So I don't know the whole story, but I understand with everything going down, people have, maybe want to simplify their life and kind of, not make things as complicated or have things to worry about. So yeah, they said they decided to sell, not sell the business, but shut it down and maybe reinvest in something else. I don't know the whole story, but it's sad to see it happen. I've met a lot of friends through Hook One, and they've done a lot for the kayak community, especially our local clubs in Tennessee. They really went above and beyond just for sponsor prizes, and they were just involved in so many ways. So it's a bummer to see that happen, but I'm grateful for the time I've had there, and grateful for all the help and support that they've given me over the years. And it's I've had some lasting friendships through that, and which will continue, I'm sure, even though the shop is now closed. But yeah, like to just thank them for all that they've done, and also like to thank my other sponsors, iRod Fishing and Dakota Lithium Batteries. And I also like to thank my parents too. It's living on the opposite side of the country, I only get to see them maybe once, maybe twice a year, usually once a year if I'm lucky. So I'm excited to spend some time with the family and stuff like that coming up in a couple weeks. And they've always been there to really support me, and yeah, they've been really awesome, loving parents, and yeah, grateful for it. So, and also like to thank AJ and the rest of the Hobie BOS staff for just doing just such a class act, those guys, and they're always just on top of everything. And it's just a really well run tournament. And for those of you who haven't done a Hobie tournament or think about getting into tournament fishing, I highly suggest giving the Hobie BOS tournaments a try. It's a great group of people, great community, and everybody. It's a great time out there. So.
And that's it. Y'all weren't able to meet before or after, right?
Just the top 10. We had the meeting. Everything's online, but the the ceremony, they just take the people who are going to get the checks and stuff like that. And they have that little live video and stuff like that that they did. So, but hopefully, before all this crazy stuff went down, they fed you and had really went
good food.
They get different, Randy Howell and like Ike and Nelly, would come to support and talk to all the anglers, and just doing the little things like that just really makes a big difference. And like I said, they've really got it down.
Yep. Cool. Well, thank you guys, and we don't want to take up too much of your time, but hopefully we'll see y'all again. And Alex and Zach, good luck whenever you fish up there for the BASS event. Hopefully you do great again when we have y'all back on. And Russ, I'm excited to see some pictures from Coeur d'Alene. Good.
All right.
Yeah, and good luck on Mille Lacs, man.
Thank you. It's good thanks for having us on.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
All right. Lost you there for a minute. So what, man, I know you're sad about Hook One too, right? Because you were on their team, and that's, a company that you've been with for a while, and a great shop. It's sad to see it go.
Oh yeah. It was, I would say probably one of the best outfitters there is in the country, obviously in our area, because it's the biggest one, but I came into Russ talking about it, and like you said, the friendships that you make through there and people you get to meet, and the staff there, they're phenomenal. And, everybody needs to keep them in mind, because it hit everybody real sudden. So, people are going to be out of work. But that's something to say about them too, is they've been still just slaving away. I know the first day that they announced the closing sale, they were there until midnight that night cashing people out. They had, probably, if I had to guess, hundreds of people come through. I saw videos and pictures of the lines, and, they had 2 employees, and they had basically called in a guy that used to work for them to come back to help. But, it sucks that they're gone, but one door closes with opportunity, another one opens. So maybe something will come out of it for me, and I know something will come out of it for the other guys. I mean, the Hook One team was full of big names, so
Russ, Craig, yeah. I mean, there's tons of good people.
Yeah, Adam. And,
yep.
Yeah. So, but that's something to be said about that too. You know, it wasn't. I know some of the details to why it closed. You know, I won't say anything about why, but you know, COVID was not an issue, but it lets you know a business that does good all the time that can go down lets you really think about the smaller businesses and smaller tackle shops and kayak stores and all these places. And like our board director did a video the other day, you know, keep these companies, you know, in your thoughts. Don't just jump to online sales if you can. You know, if these shops are open and they're trying to keep their doors open, you know, you may spend that little extra money or time, but run over there, say, hey, get what you can from them, help those companies out, or we're going to see more of our, you know, the stores that are involved in our sport start to disappear through this, because it's looking like it's going to just stay like this for a little while. So they're going to need everybody's help. So just keep that in mind. You know, Tackle Warehouse is great, but you know, the guy down the street running the, you know, 700 square foot kayak store needs your help too. So
yeah, just trying to struggle and make it, and tough times. So definitely support your local shops. And you know, Hook One going out leaves a giant void in that mid kind of where I live, central Alabama to all the way through Tennessee into Georgia. And then you've got a couple of them big shops like Westbrook and Dugout. I mean, those are two great shops that
my theory is you're either going to see somebody buy and or create something, either, you know, buy Hook One, keep it going, create something new to fill that void there, or you're going to see.
Oh, see what?
I said you're either going to see something new come fill the void, or you're going to see some of the other outfitters kind of step up, and this will be their chance for expansion.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity, and a lot of opportunity here in Alabama. We have some small stores, some great stores, but I mean, we definitely don't have that big shop, that Dugout, that Hook One, you know, the Headwaters, the, you know, Mariner Sales, Fuzzy Guppies, one of those great shops that bring the culture into an area. So yeah, definitely.
North Alabama is a great place that we could have that, because just like with Hook One being in Tennessee, we all still went there anyway. I think it'd be the exact opposite, but with how kayak fishing is in Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee, I don't think it really matters where that is. It's going to do good. So we'll see.
For sure.
You never know. I may throw my hat into the game and start my own outfitter.
Do it. I'll run your team. Do it. I'm ready. Yeah, you do the business. I'll run your team. Let's do it. I'm ready.
All money, you be the face. Is that how that is?
I'll give you everything in my wallet. Let's do it. But yeah, we had a bunch of other tournaments besides that one. We had we'll go through these here, and obviously I'm going to mispronounce a bunch of names. Jimmy will give everybody $5 who I screw up. First you had, and this was cool. This was cool. Wild West Bass Trail on Lake McClure, 71 anglers. This one's out in the West Coast. So the top three all tied, all had 76 inches. The first
That's
one,
cool.
Yeah, Alden Walden, he won by 1/4 of an ounce. And then second and third place tied their second fish, and it went down to their third fish. And Scott Savaco won with 76 inches, and John Myers also with 76 inches. So they all tied. But that's
it's cool because everybody knows how most of the tie rules work in kayak fishing. You never see it get used more than the first fish.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, to go down to third, and that's $100 entry fee. I mean, that's a big tournament and a lot of money to tie. I don't know.
Quarter of an inch for a heck of a difference in a check, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So then we had a NYKBF on Soda Bay up in New York. 64 anglers, 3 fish limit. Craig Pitson first with 52 1/4. Forrest Buchan with 51 3/4, and Nary Wren with 51 inches. Then Buckeye Kayak Bass Fishing Trail on Clear Fork Reservoir, 59 anglers, 3 fish limit. And like always, we do tournaments that were 30 people or more. It's not that we're leaving out your club if you only had 25. We can only talk about so many clubs every week. But Tim Crabtree in first with 56.5. AA, well, it's AA Ron. Aaron Stahlbaum with 53 3/4, and Eric Monaco with 51 inches. Next, Mid-Atlantic kayak bass fishing, Lake Seneca, Little Seneca Lake, 3 fish limit. Steven Sisto with 59, Joshua Evans with 59.5, and another AA Ron, Aaron Fetterman with 52.5. Is a good day to be a Aaron. KBF Tennessee on Old Hickory Lake, 32 anglers. First up was Matthew Case with 83.5, Will Miller in second with 80 3/4, and Adam Chillavong with 80 1/4. And then you had the Michigan, Ohio kayak anglers on Kent Lake, 30 anglers. First up, Stephen Galloway, 90 inches, and he won by 4 inches. That's big field there. Cody Salzman with 86 inches, and Jason Hang with 84.5. Then we had kayak anglers in Missouri, 41 anglers on Truman Lake. James Harding in first with 84 1/4. Jeff Hook with 83. Jacob Nunn with 79 3/4. Next up, Natural State Kayak Anglers. Love that name. Probably my favorite in the whole country. Lake Darnell, 31 anglers. Garrett Morgan in first with 90.5. Second place was 79 inches. So over 10-inch win difference there. Gordon Parham, 79 inches, and David Bird in third with 78 3/4. Then Southeast Texas Kayak Bass League, and they have tournaments all the time. I swear they probably have more tournaments than any club in the country. The 68 anglers on Lake Somerville. First was Morgan Carnitas with 80 3/4, J.R. Maccabi with 82.5, and Mark Chills with 80.5. And then the KBS West Region event on Lower Otay, 51 anglers. Johnny Baynard with 89 3/4, Mark Chrisman with 79 inches, and Steve Buchner with 86 1/4. So congratulations, everybody who did well. And yeah, congratulations to our 3 gentlemen that came on the show. As always, we're happy to have people and talk about fishing. It was good.
So what do you got next? I know real quick you got an event coming up next week, right?
Yeah, one this Saturday. My wife had to go to out of town this weekend, so I didn't get to practice, but it's just a little deal. It's a throwdown from it's on like a little pay lake. It's going to suck. Let's be honest. It's like
you got to hit it though, man. You got to get out ahead of them a little bit with your AOI. You're still leading it, right?
Yeah, barely. It's a 2 fish limit. So it's only till 2:00, and the fishing's going to be so terrible. Is probably why they did 2 fish limit. I've never been there. I'm just going there with a Ned rig and just going to let it fly and just see what happens. I don't know, man. I've looked at it on the maps. I've done everything I could. But actually, Greg Nosar is coming from the KBBT. He's coming through this week. And I think on Thursday, I'm going to take a half day. And me and my friend Jeremy are going to take him to Lake X and kind of see what's up. See if we can go catch a big.
Yeah, I still need to catch up with you and go there.
Yeah. And anybody's welcome to come as long as you're from out of state. I mean, I'll take you. We're boys, but I'm not taking anybody else there because that place is legit. But yeah, man, what do you have going on?
Not much. I may hit Craig I up and take him up on his offer to come out there. I can't even remember where he was saying we would go, but we've talked about it like twice since we had him on the podcast. So I may swing out there. Just depends on work. I got a whole bunch of work to catch up that I've been completely avoiding. That's catching up really quick. So
here's my boy right here, Jeremy Baker. He's the one who turned me on to this place. So I think only 4 people know about it. So me and a guy I took, because like you have to take another person just to launch, and then Jeremy and his friend. So it's like a hidden gem. I'll say that. It's hidden. It's not right here like where I live. It's a little bit of a drive, but it's a magical place. And I haven't even fished it. Like last time I was there, I caught a couple of 19s, and they're really super ultra, really healthy fish. It's only largemouth. And so every fish is like at least a half pound more than what you'd usually think they are. So like a 19-inch is like easily 4 pounds. You know, I mean, they're stout fish. And
yeah, they look all the pictures you showed me. They look good.
Yeah, I had one come off last time, and I'm still learning this place. I haven't even fished it all. But we didn't get to fish here for very long because it's so far away and I'm paddling right now that a big one come off. Like I set the hook, he set the hook back, and he just went. And he never even thought about he wasn't going because he was afraid of me. He was going because he just wanted to go that way. Like he never
And he was going to.
yeah, it wasn't like he was fighting to get away from me. He just wanted to go that direction. That's how big he was. So I really think there's some monsters in there. So
I need to come hit it with my style because I mean, me and you fish completely different. So
I'm bringing some big baits this time. So we'll see.
Get the wake baits out.
Oh yeah. Well, right now they're in like the deeper section. So I think it like
is it really deep?
Yeah, some parts are like where they were the last time. It kind of a storm came through and they all ganged up on this one point. So yeah, I mean it's pretty shallow. Like you could throw something up on that point because there's only a couple of feet, but they were on both sides of it. But yeah,
I need to work on my deeper water game.
Yeah, I'm ready to hold up a trophy. I honestly, like my other friend who went with me. He caught this big giant bluegill, like the biggest bluegill I've ever seen.
Saw that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like there's just some crazy bait. I don't mean to keep talking about it, but I don't think there's any other bait in there. Like any other fish. I don't think there's any stripe or catfish. There's definitely carp, but I don't know what other fish are in there. So it's just largemouth. And I think the bait's really big, and the fish are super healthy. I think there's some trophies in there. So
yeah, it definitely I have it like that around where I work. That's like all bluegill.
Yeah.
And as soon as I swapped up my tactic to like mimicking that's when I finally found out. Like, my boss had told me, he's like, "Oh, there's nothing but little bitty fish in there." And I swapped up the color, and the first fish was like 3 pounds. I was like, "No, they're in here."
And see, I really want, like, I've never been a swim bait guy. Like now I really want to get like the Jackal Gantrel or a big bull.
I got one. Or I'll let you use it. I've got one I don't use.
Oh, I wish I was.
Like I don't use it a lot, but you're welcome to use it.
Are you coming down here? No. Okay.
I mean, I'll be down there for work. I can drop it off, but I won't. It'll be a while before I get down there fishing.
Well, we'll talk after us, but if you're coming in my area, I will come and get it from you.
All right.
If you're working down here.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it. We'll quit talking about my honey hole, but
yeah, it's gonna swap from tournament fishing to Jimmy and Dan. Can't shut up.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all. Thanks for listening as always, and we'll see you next week, Monday at 8. And again, if you ever want us to talk about your club or you have any questions, please ask during the show and get them ready because we'll be happy to ask them. We're just having fun talking about fishing. So as always, wear your PFDs and thank you.